and I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Hey, Cruz County. Hello, Oregon. Hello, America and beyond. And thank you for joining me on today's show. I've got a show packed chock full of information. And the first thing I got to get out there is that one of my sponsors, 3H Tree Service, they play a game every Monday. It goes back to my radio show. We started a game called Where's 3H Tree Service? And we would start the show out by telling people 3H Tree Service is out somewhere in the county. We would give a hint, and then you would have to find them. And if you found them, they would give you $50. Well, they played the game today. They've already got a winner. So I wanted to let you know that there is no Where's 3H Tree Service game going on right now because we already got a winner. And thank you, Matt Holman, for setting us straight there. I do appreciate that. And Gary Landry says, peace right back at you, man. Good for you. Or I'm glad you're joining us. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in the news, and I'm just going to start it off with something that is near and dear to my heart, and that's the right to protest. I believe in fervently that people have a right to protest. People have a right to counter protest. I do a lot of events. We've got an event coming up, the American Values Tour. We've got the Brandon Hart concert, and for the Ignite at the Egyptian, we expect there's going to be some counter protesters. Good for them. I support them. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. In fact, I got a really cool video of some of these counter protesters. You're going to love it. But that being said, I also believe in a person's right to privacy, a person's right to decide what goes on in their property, a person's right to freedom of religion. In fact, the first freedom mentioned in the First Amendment is the freedom of religion. And there's a reason for that. Many Americans many people who came to America came here because they were being persecuted in the country that they were coming from. And so they came to this country so they wouldn't be persecuted. Well, today or this past weekend, something happened that, it just ticked me off. It was one of those things that really got under my craw. And it's someone trying to use the freedom of speech to deny somebody their freedom of religion. It's using one freedom to take away someone else's freedom under the guise that you have a right to do this. And I want to give you an example of this. It happened this weekend. Don Lemon, the washed up anchor for CNN, who I don't even think CNN, do they even have a show? I haven't seen the CNN channel in quite a while. I don't even know if they exist as a news network. But Don Lemon had the nerve to take lead of this protest and go into a church. And I want to show this video for you because it's just absolutely disgusting what he does here. USA! USA! Sorry, wrong one. This is
unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So, But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and
worship.
love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a
no
Christian?
one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
Unless you're here to
chronicle what
worship.
happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And there you go. There's Don Lemon forcing his way into a church, interrupting a church service, interrupting Christians' right to pray. They weren't harming anyone. They weren't doing anything. They were minding their own damn business. And they're so damn lucky that this was a Christian church and they didn't come to the bar that I was hanging out at on Friday night. If they would have came to the bar that I was hanging out on Friday night, which I wasn't even hanging out at a bar, I was here doing the Friday night rant. But let's say if Don Lemon walked in my house and said, "Hey, I got a First Amendment right," what do you think I'm going to do to Don Lemon? Well, I'll explain it to you. He's not going to be. Well, he's going to be needing some dental work. Let's put it that way. You come into my house, you come into my business, and you tell me you have a right to protest, you have a right to freedom of speech. I got news for you. If I own it, I'm the dictator. I am the tyrant that owns the property, and anyone else who owns their property, this is America, and you are king of your house. You are king of your business. You're the one who gets to decide what goes on in your property. And Don Lemon, such an idiot, so confused, talking about his right to freedom of speech, his right to protest. He does have that right to protest the government, to protest on public property, to go to public places. He has every right to do that, but he doesn't have a right to invade a private worship service. And I don't care what kind of worship service it was. It's deplorable. It's despicable. It's just disgusting. And these leftists think that they have every right in the world to take away your rights, to take away your ability to worship the way you want to do this, the way you want to believe in God, the way you want to raise your children religiously. They want to interfere with that. And this is something that's happening here in Coos County, and I'm going to talk about that later on in the show. Like I said, I got a really neat video for you. But when I saw that, I was just ticked off. I was just really, really ticked off. Let's see. Gary Landry says, where was this? I think this was in Minneapolis. This was in Minneapolis that this occurred, and they were protesting the ICE being there, which I can tell you right now, I'm pretty damn happy ICE is doing what they're doing. In fact, people ask all the time on the internet, are you happy with your vote? Are you happy that the president is doing what he's doing? And well, here's my answer to that. This is pretty much my answer to that. Heck yeah, I voted for this, and it's better than I expected, way better than I expected. And so I agree with Chris Castleman. Chris, thank you for joining us. He says insanity. It was insanity. It was insane that some idiot would think that they have a right to go into a house of worship. And by the way, it's a federal crime to do that. Even I know it's a federal crime to go into a church and disturb a worship ceremony. It doesn't matter which church. It doesn't matter which church you go to. You have a right to pray however you want to pray. And this guy Don Lemon was violating their right. It's insane, but that's the leftists. They think they're the only ones who have rights. And this is why I voted for Donald Trump, because he's fighting back against this insane ideology that they're promoting on us. And Gary Landry said, did this occur in Coos County? Well, no, Gary. My mom says that, yes, Minneapolis, and it is sickening. I bet it was sickening for my mother. You know, my mother goes to church pretty regularly. I would say my dad are churchgoers. And if I was going to church with them and Don Lemon would have walked in, it would have been very embarrassing for the Christians, because I don't know if I could contain myself. That Christian pastor that Don Lemon approached, he really conducted himself very professionally, very civilly, because like I said, I wouldn't have handled it the same way. I would have grabbed that boy by the back of his neck and by the cuff of his collar, and I would have thrown him right the hell out of that building. right onto his ass. And if he got up with any more smart ass remarks, hey, buddy, you may be picking up your teeth, like I said. So this really ticks me off that this is happening in a worship service, because they do that because they know Christians aren't going to fight back. Christians are good, decent people. They will pray for peace for their enemies. That's the beauty of the Christian philosophy. And here these dirtbag commie leftists like Don Lemon thinks that he can go in there and disturb someone's worship service. It's just disgusting. And as Coos Bay Jam protest said, now that's just plain rude. And I agree with you. That's just absolutely rude. Me too. And I'm 80. Yeah, I agree with you, Ma. I just don't get it. But yeah, I voted for this, and this is why I voted for this. You see these people here, these monsters, and they're not on those photos because of the color of their skin, because they're minorities. I don't care if these people were lily white Swedes. If these people were all Irish and Scottish, I'd have no problem with ICE removing them, because let me read this to you. It says ICE has provided Fox News. This is a quote from Bill Malusian on Fox News. He says, a list of the most egregious criminal aliens they've arrested during their surge in the sanctuary state of Minnesota. And it's the most disturbing list I have ever seen, including numerous convicted child rapists, sodomizers, and 10 convicted killers. Most with deportation orders going back many years, several from Laos, Somalia, and Sudan. And this is a quote from Bill Malusian. And Bill went on to discuss all the different crimes committed by these criminals, who, thank goodness, we've got a president who's sending them back. There was another president who used to send these type of criminals back. His name was Obama. Yeah, Obama practiced the same sanctuary, or not the same sanctuary. He's practiced the same deportation policy that Trump is working under right now. Trump has just expanded that to pretty much anyone who's an illegal alien, and has casted a much broader net, which he should have, because we've had a lot of people come into this country. We don't know who they are. A lot of them are living off our welfare, and it's even worse. A lot of them, they're taking advantage of our graciousness, and they're defrauding our system. This is something we have to stop. But these type of people right here in this picture, this is why I voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is making sure that these type of animals are no longer in our country. And it's a beautiful thing. Coos Bay Jam protest says Obama's border security was much better than Biden's. Agreed. And it was. Absolutely. Biden did the opposite. Under Biden, there was no border security, unless you're talking about the security of bringing in illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. If you're talking about that, then you're correct. Absolutely, there was no border security. But when people ask, yeah, I voted for this totally, and I have no problem with this. I think it's a good thing that we're getting criminals out of our country. Danny Mayer says, "What about the crimes of the politicians?" Yeah. The politicians brought them here, and that's the problem. For most of the people who are here illegally and getting free stuff, I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at the politicians who opened up the treasury and decided to steal, rob from Peter and Paul over here, American Peter and Paul, and take from us and give to illegal immigrants who completely were scofflaws. They didn't even care about our immigration laws. And that's one of those things that also just is absolutely infuriating. I've got some other news, very important stuff to get to, because there was so much happening. I was having trouble to even decide what to put on the screen. But here is something that was kind of important, because it was a SCOTUS ruling. Let me see if I get that up there. Oh, here we go. This 9-0 SCOTUS decision makes clear law enforcement's right to stop threats to public safety. The reason I'm going to this story is that it has to do with the shooting by the ICE officer of a lady who was trying to run him over. I feel so sorry for the family of that lady. I don't feel sorry for her, because she asked for what she got, and she got what she deserved. Anyone who tries to kill a police officer, according to SCOTUS, 9-0, and that's even the liberal SCOTUS judges said that law enforcement has a right to stop threats to public safety. And if you're gunning your car towards police officers, well, that's exactly what you're doing. You're endangering public safety, especially the life of law enforcement officers. And let me read a couple of paragraphs here. It says, since Wednesday's shooting of a violent anti-ICE demonstrator at the hands of U.S. immigration officials in Minneapolis, Democrats and their left-wing lackeys have taken to doing what they do best, lying. Within hours, these self-professed misinformation experts spread disinformation of their own by claiming that the now deceased woman who is on video obstructing law enforcement operations and accelerating her vehicle at ICE agents was nothing more than an innocent legal observer. Yeah, right. And naturally, their media allies were more than happy to help obfuscate the pretty pertinent car ramming detail from their coverage of the incident, which is what they always do. They don't have to totally lie. They just leave out parts of the story, obfuscating most of the truth. And so, but to anyone with a lick of common sense, it's clear after watching footage of the moment that agents had every right to fire upon the suspect. By every indication, she obstructed a law enforcement operation, refused to obey officer orders, and most importantly, accelerated her vehicle at the agent standing in front of her. Very, very bad stuff. But that's not just went too fast. As my colleague Brecken Thies aptly noted, and by the way, this is from the Federalist, really good website. Regardless of the left-wing psyop now at play, the justification for shooting the driver is quite clear, because cars being used in this manner should be perceived as deadly weapons. And I would agree with you. And I can tell you right now, I've seen people killed and very low acceleration accidents. People who were on the truck, fell off the truck, were ran over by the truck with the back wheels of it. I was at an event where that happened. And so this can happen. And if you're actually accelerating and aiming your car towards law enforcement officers, which, by the way, just the fact you're not obeying the law enforcement officers, I think you got a problem to start with right now. So that's the problem with the story. But I continue with this article. It says, now that's not just the opinion of the Federalist columnist either. It's also the view of the U.S. Supreme Court, which unanimously held in 2014 that law enforcement officers in cases such as this are justified in neutralizing threats to public safety. And you can read that article. It's in the Federalist. Really good stuff. I highly recommend it. And the reason I wanted to put that out there is that this is why the Department of Justice is not going to be investigating this shooting. They want to do it on the state level in Minneapolis, but the fact is that the feds in this federal agency, they can use the supremacy clause. They don't have to worry about it. They have immunity. So it only goes to show that the leftists getting bold like this, getting bold and getting into people's faces, it's not going to end very well for them. It's not going to end very well at all. And the problem is that they're the people who are causing this type of violence. Well, they're really putting public citizens at risk, because if we have to defend ourselves, we're not like police officers. We don't get the benefit of immunity. So if a car who doesn't like our politics, say we're doing an event, say we're doing a Turning Point event, or we're doing an American Values tour, like is coming up in a couple of weeks, and someone decides to take a car and ram into a crowd of us who are going into the theater, we have a right to defend ourselves. But it's getting harder and harder for the public to defend themselves. And we live in a leftist state in Oregon where DAs, and I don't know if it's so true about our DA here in Coos County because she was elected, but most DAs are appointed by the governor. I don't know if you knew that. Even in Curry County, they just had their district attorney appointed by the governor, a leftist governor, and I can guarantee you they appointed a leftist district attorney. So these district attorneys now are going after people who are defending themselves. And then you got the left who are now engaging into walking into worship services, confronting Christians, They're confronting immigration officers trying to do a lawful operation and actually trying to kill them with their vehicles. At a certain point, if they do this to the public at large, the rest of us, we're going to have to defend ourselves. And I don't know how this is going to go down. And this is why I'm talking about this. I got a video here of a story that was done by Savannah Hernandez. And in fact, she was doing this for Turning Point USA. And this is the worry that we have in certain counties here in Oregon. If we live in a blue state, anyone else who lives in a blue state, this should be a concern for you.
Outside of the Queens Criminal Courthouse in New York City, where I just attended the sentencing for Charles Foner, the 67-year-old retiree who was just sentenced to 4 years in prison after defending himself from a 15-time career criminal here in New York City. Now, if you're not familiar with the story of Charles, basically back in 2023, a 15-time career criminal with a history of mental illness ended up threatening him and lunging at him. Charles, who had a handgun in his pocket, which he had, by the way, because of his fears of rising crime throughout the city, ended up pulling out his weapon, telling this man to stop. He did not heed the warning. He continued to lunge at Charles. Charles opened fire and ended up killing him. Now, interesting thing about this case is that the DA of Queens, Melinda Katz, did not bring forth homicide or manslaughter charges because even her office agreed that this was a clear-cut case of self-defense. However, what they did decide to charge Charles for was criminal possession of a weapon. And then after this incident happened, the police went and searched his home, and they found what they stated is an arsenal of unlicensed weapons. Now, I want to say he had about 30 other guns in his home, and Charles's attorney stated.
And so anyone who is a hobbyist with firearms, 30 guns, 30 rifles, that's nothing. I can probably go to any house, every other house on this block, and the guys there, they probably have 30 guns. Are all of them documented? I don't know. I don't really care, because this guy who was in the video, he had no record. He wasn't violent. All he did was protect himself against a crazed homeless man. Just like, who was the gentleman on the subway? I forget the gentleman who was just charged in New York, and he was acquitted, found not guilty of murder. All he did was defend other people from a crazed homeless person. Well, now we've got protesters who are escalating the situation. We got Don Lemon going into churches, disturbing worshipers. How disgusting, Don Lemon. You're just a disgusting man. Then you've got people who are trying to run over immigration officers. I can see this escalating, and fellow citizens of these leftist protesters are going to be victims of their aggression. And they keep trying to tell us that this is all peaceful, that we have to do this. This is all about peacefulness and stopping the oppressors. And the fact is that you're just getting in the way of law enforcement. And there are channels where you can go through to change the law. If you don't like the immigration laws, work through your representative to change the law. I mean, I can tell you right now, I've done protests for years, and I don't even call them protests. I call them rallies, because protests just don't work. I'll tell you what works. Going to your city council meeting, going to your county commissioner meetings, finding out and staying in touch and watching your representatives and senator in the state house, and watching your representatives and legislators in the federal house. There are ways to change the law, but you don't have a right to take away other people's rights because you claim that there's this horrible fascist oppression that's happening, because it's not happening. The laws that Donald Trump is enforcing on immigration are the same laws that Obama did. And if you don't like it, change it through the process. Change it through the process. But Danny says, symptoms of despotism are numerous. Our duty is clearly stated in our Declaration of Independence. You're damn right. You're damn right. Coos Bay Jam Protest says, have you played the video of the shooting on stream before? I have seen, probably about 4 hours of those videos. And no, I haven't played them live stream. I don't think there's any really need to. I think Coos Bay liberals are much nicer than big city liberals, same as our Republicans. And I do think that, I do believe that. Like I said, I support everyone's right to protest. We've been having the No Kings rally, and if I, people will ask me, Rob, why don't we go down there and protest those liberals and those no king rallies? Let's get in their face and show them a Trump flag. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? I don't get that. Liberals have a right to go out and put their signs up and do their little chants. They have a right to do that. What you don't have a right to do is loot. You don't have a right to burn. You don't have a right to destroy. You don't have a right to violate other people's rights, but you have a right to protest peacefully, not mostly peacefully, actually peacefully. And so I highly recommend that anyone out there who wants to go out and stop leftists from being leftists, what you want to try to do is reach them while they're young through education. And this is kind of what we're trying to do with the event that we're doing. We're trying to get young conservatives, young Christian kids to learn our Judeo-Christian values, to learn the culture that we all grew up with. We all grew up with the same culture. We're all Americans. So we should all, celebrate our differences, but yet our uniqueness too, our uniqueness as Americans, because there's no other country out there like America. And it always cracks me up when people go, Americans, they have no culture. Yeah, we have culture. We have plenty of culture. Go outside, go to our movies, listen to our music, read our literature. America's got plenty of culture and it's very diverse. So I don't know why so many people on the left are so upset with people going to Christian events or having Christian worship services. Once again, you have a right to protest. Go protest your government. On another subject, let me share this tab here and share the screen. Well, let's get that back on there. Woo! Feds warn Oregon, other states on paying unemployment benefits to striking workers. Now, this was a law that was passed, I believe, was it the last legislature or the legislature before last? I talked about it on this show. They want to pay unemployment to people who are on strike. Now, I always thought unemployment was for people who are looking for a job. If you're on strike, you have a job. You just refuse to go there because you don't like how much you're getting paid. And I'm one of those, when I didn't like the amount of money I was getting paid, I'd go get me a better job. I don't know what the hell's the matter with people. But these people, these union guys, they want to go on strike. And now the state says, hey, all you people who are going to work, doing the right thing, you should pay for the union bums who are going on strike because they don't like how much money they're getting. And instead of doing it the right way, going out and getting another job, no, they want to destroy a business that they're working for. So other than destroying a business, they now want to steal from us taxpayers by getting unemployment benefits. And I don't know. A lot of conservatives, a lot of Trump supporters are big union guys. They love the unions, and I'm not a big fan of public unions. I would get rid of public unions. Private unions, I'm not a big fan of either, but they do have a right to associate, and they do have a right to go on strike, but I don't think they have a right to take my tax dollars to go on strike. And let me read you a little more from this story here. It says Oregon's new law authorizing unemployment assistance to striking workers could face a challenge from the federal government, thank goodness, which warned states last week about paying people on strike unless those people are also actively looking for new jobs. Well, isn't that what we said when we were doing talking about the legislature and this bill was up for legislation? That's exactly what we were doing. We were telling them this is going to be very bad for you. This is going to turn out very badly, and the feds aren't going to like it because the feds, I think, contribute to unemployment. Let me continue with this article. It says an individual who's on strike must engage in activities that demonstrate to the state unemployment insurance agency that he or she is able and available for work and actively seeking work under the state law. This is from Michelle Beebe, head of the U.S. Employment and Training Administration. She wrote in a note to Oregon and other states' agencies last week. And she should. This is a scam. This is one of the biggest damn scam, paying for people to go on strike. You go to work, you bust your ass, you probably make less money than the union guys, And then they have the nerve to ask the government to steal from you to pay for them so they can go on strike. How do you feel about the union now? I'm not too happy with them, but whatever. It says if states pay unemployment aid to striking workers without ensuring that they are seeking other work while on strike, BB cautioned those states could lose federal grants and businesses would lose their eligibility for federal tax credits. And good. That is so damn good. I'm so sick of having to pay for other people's good time. I don't know about you, but it's just getting annoying. And I don't want to pay for a bunch of union thugs to go on strike. Oh, Grant. Hey, Dan, good to see you, man. They want to pay teachers is their bottom line when they go on strike, and government workers and themselves. And that's the problem. This includes public unions. I'm totally opposed to public unions. I don't think anyone should be forced to be in a public union. And they now have laws thanks to, it was Mike Neerman's wife. I think his wife was actually the one who took it to Supreme Court, where people don't have to join a union. Thank goodness, because I wouldn't ever, if I was anyone who was forced to be in a job which was controlled by the unions. Stark's Farm Family says, I got assaulted twice Saturday downtown. One time was by one of the Coos County Democrat organizers. Oh, wow. You got assaulted? I'm sorry. I thought they were supposed to be peaceful. They were all supposed to be about love and kindness and diversity and equity and inclusion. I thought that's what the left was all about. And no, they assaulted you twice. Wow. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. Maybe you should get a few friends to go with you next time. I don't know, but nobody should be assaulted. And Stock's family farm, this gentleman goes down to the No Kings protests, and he's not protesting them. He's just filming them because, well, they're funny. And so he likes to film them, and he asks them questions. He asks them pretty sincere questions. And to be quite honest with you, most of them answer them politely and nicely. I would say probably most of them that I've seen. But to actually be assaulted, that's sick. He says, I have the video on Twitter and on YouTube. I haven't got the other video up yet. I'm going to go check that out. And I may have to have you on the show, and we may have to talk about this because that's not right if you're getting assaulted. If you're getting assaulted by people at the protest. But so to go back to my story about the feds, we don't need to be paying unions. We don't need to be paying unions at all. What can I tell you? But we are having a little bit of luck here in Oregon. In Oregon, we're having a little bit of success with our bad voter rolls. Let me share this right here. Victory in Oregon voter rolls lawsuit. This is from Judicial Watch. If you don't know who Judicial, let me get that. Yeah, if you don't know who Judicial Watch is, then you might want to check them out, find out all the good work they've done, and learn that they should be considered heroes here in Oregon. These folks are doing amazing work here, and to the gentleman who's doing the who's the chair of the Constitution Party. The Constitution Party is also one of the plaintiffs with the Judicial Watch who's suing the state of Oregon over dirty voter rolls. I've got a video here from the gentleman who's at, gosh, the name escapes me. He'll mention his name right here. And this is the video I have.
Hey everyone, huge news. Judicial Watch lawsuits led to the cleanup of 4 million dirty names from the voting rolls in just the last 2 years or so. But there's more heavy lifting to be done for cleaner elections. That's why Judicial Watch just sued the state of Oregon to force it to finally clean up its voting rolls, which are a mess. Federal law requires states to take reasonable steps to clean up their voting rolls, and Oregon hasn't been doing that. In fact, our new lawsuit, just filed for and with the Constitution Party of Oregon and Oregon voters, details how 29 of Oregon's 36 counties removed few or no registrations as required by federal election law. Oregon and 35 of its counties had overall registration rates exceeding 100%. Frankly, Oregon has the highest known inactive registration rate of any state in the nation. You know, dirty voting rolls can mean dirty elections. Oregon, as I said, has some of the worst voting rolls in America. and needs to clean them up as soon as possible. In the meantime, Judicial Watch has lawsuits to clean up voting rolls in California and in Illinois. Simply put, millions of ineligible names need to be removed from the voter rolls under federal law, and Judicial Watch has been, is, and will be in federal court making it happen.
And they made that happen, and the Oregon voter rolls are, I think they said 800,000 that they're going to clean off there. I don't know if it's in this article. Let me scroll up a little bit. Court greenlights Judicial Watch lawsuit to clean up Oregon voter rolls, and a federal court in Oregon ruled that our lawsuits filed on behalf of the Constitution Party of Oregon and 2 registered voters to force the cleanup of Oregon's voter rolls may proceed. And so this is really good stuff. And then let me go ahead and share this tab. Oregon election officials to begin purging rolls of inactive voters. Good deal. The state paused such housekeeping in 2017, but will now cancel registrations for those who neither receive ballots nor vote. Now, let me ask you something. Do you see something strange about that date? 2017, the state stopped purging voter rolls. Now, 2016, what happened in 2016, folks? Do you remember this? Do you remember? Come on, what happened? Oh, that's right. A guy who was the star of the show called Apprentice, this TV reality show, his name was Donald Trump. He became president in 2016. That's right. He became president in 2016. And then in 2017, they just decided, we're going to stop cleaning and purging the voter rolls. We're just going to let it build up. Right now, Coos County has 102% of the people eligible to vote are registered to vote. 102%. We're damn good in Coos County. We got so many people registered to vote. We got more people than there are people to actually vote. That's how badass we are. And so Oregon voting elections, they might be a little corrupt. You might think so, but let's think about this. In 2017, this happened. And then in 2020, the election was stolen for Donald Trump. And I don't care what anyone says. I've seen enough evidence now to believe that the election was stolen. And Oregon, you really didn't have to worry about it. We were going to go for Donald Trump, whether our elections were rigged or not. We're just crazy leftists here. I'm pretty sure we would have gone for Trump. Who knows? I still believe that our voter rolls are dirty. I believe with mail-in voting, that our ballots our elections are rigged. And I think this purging of our voter rolls will help out, hopefully. And I hope this is something that's continued through the federal government. I mean, they could impose something like if you don't clean your voter rolls a certain amount of time every certain amount of years, then you can't vote in a federal election until your voter rolls are clean. That's the same with ending vote by mail. You can't use vote by mail to do federal elections. The government could do this. The federal government could do this. It would have to come from the legislature to be constitutional, but the legislature could do that. I mean, they're not interfering with the local laws. If we still want to be screwed up here in Oregon, then we can keep the messed up, overpopulated voter rolls. Because what do you think they're doing with all those extra people on the voter rolls, folks? What do you think they do with all those extra names? I mean, they know it. We know it. We know this has been going on. It's been going on since 2017. But seriously, what are they doing with all those extra names? Why do they need them on there? The only answer I can come up with is that these people are cheating, that they're cheating. That's all I have. I don't know what to tell you. It's a sad state of affairs, but that's to me is what it looks like. Let's see here. Brandy Martindale. Let's see. Let me go back to Samantha. She says Judicial Watch hasn't settled yet, so the 800,000 I think is prompted by the federal government wanting to look into our rolls. I think they are purging them to cover up crimes, and that could be as well too. That could be as well. They realize that they use those extra names. Of the 102% of the people registered in Coos County, they use too many of those names. Now we just purge them real quick. and nobody can prove otherwise. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, Samantha. That's kind of interesting. And Brandy says the message needs to be re-register to vote in case you were dropped, and drop your ballot at the actual courthouse. So there's no question about the mail handling or postmarking. And that's another thing. This is super important. If conservatives do not vote, we do not get out of this mess. And you're absolutely right, Brandy Martindale. We only had 22% of the people who are actually registered to vote in this county to vote, which if we have 102% of the people registered, then it really wasn't 22%. That number is actually less. I don't know how it goes mathematically, but yeah, if that was taken down, then that number 22%, there was probably much less percentage of people who showed up at the last election. So you think about that. We may be in the mid to late teens of people showing up to vote. This is sad. This is very sad. Stocks Family Farm says next Saturday at 6 p.m. Let me read that a little bit slower. Next Saturday at 6 p.m. is another ballot counting class at the headquarters. That's the Republican headquarters, 3229 Broadway. We've got a lot of things going on at the Republican headquarters, but they are on Saturday nights. From what I understand, they did it this last week, and they're doing it this week. So if you want to learn how to do hand counting, and this is the way we used to do it back in the old days, and I'm only 60. It's not like I'm 1,000. But back in the old days, we used to count the ballots by hand. We do it all in one day. We had to show ID. We had to go to a polling place. We had to be in precincts. And precincts are good because mail-in ballots, there's no chain of custody. You can't trust it. And in fact, I'll prove it to you how bad mail-in ballots is. This last election, was it this last election or the election before last? The county clerk had to announce that the UPS, United States Postal Service, that they lost 900 ballots, a little more than 900 ballots. And it was too late for her to send out new ballots. So she requested that anyone who didn't get a ballot, please come in to the clerk's office to get a ballot. Doesn't that tell you right there that there's no security whatsoever with the mail-in ballot system? And there are other problems that can come from mail-in ballots. This is from a young man here at the Coos County Fair. This is a video that I captured, and this once again proves that there's problems with mail-in voting. Check this out. Okay, we're standing at the Coos County Fair, and I'm speaking with, your name is?
Kyle Middleton.
Kyle Middleton, and we're getting signatures for the End Vote by Mail petition. And Kyle was just relaying a story to me of his recent experience with voting by mail. Tell us what happened.
So I go to college over in Ontario, which I'm from around this area, so it's about 7 hours away. My mother had mailed me my ballot. I had filled it out, and then I had sent it off that Tuesday. So it was more than enough in time. And then we kept looking at it. On the registration thing, it never appeared in anything. And then about December-ish, we got my ballot back in the mail, and it said that the return address was not available.
That is incredible that we're doing this and that you would come up, because that is exactly what we're saying, that there are problems with vote by mail.
Yep.
Did you get to vote? Did you go back and get your ballot?
I was not able to, no.
So because of this delay in the vote by mail system, would you have preferred to have been able to just do it one day, go down, show your ID, and...
Oh, 100% have been a lot easier on me and my family, for sure.
Ah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You too. And Samantha, you're right. This is exactly what the Coos County clerk, a woman who has 102% registration of voters in her county. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. She had the nerve to point the finger at USPS and in the same breath said that vote by mail was just fine. Don't worry, nothing to see here, folks. There's nothing going on. Don't worry about those postmarked ballots or the ones who really aren't postmarked at all. Don't worry about if they come in 14 days after the election. That doesn't matter. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here, folks. Yeah, we've got problems with our voting system here in Oregon, and we have to go back to precinct voting. And with all that I said, that we have problems with our voting in Oregon, I want you to vote. I want you to get out and vote, because there's only so much of a percentage that they can cheat, number one. Number two, we're watching them now. we've got our eye on them. We know what they're doing. We know what the tricks are. And hopefully this next election, we will have election observers in the county clerk's office, making sure there's no shenanigans going on, because we don't want none of those shenanigans going on. Stocks Family Farm says, I work part-time at the East Side Post Office. You used to see all the ballots to closed P.O. boxes. I know of one dead guy getting a ballot. His kids took it. Yeah. See, anyone who thinks that there's nothing going on in the elections, well, you must be smoking some of that wacky tobacco that they sell over at Herbal Choices. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I guess we'll have to find out. Let's see. I had a story, but I think okay, so here I got another story about the gas tax because, well, they screwed it up. The governor screwed it up. And we were lucky enough we got that petition at the headquarters, the Republican headquarters. And I don't know how many signatures we got, probably about 5,000 just at our headquarters. I don't know. It was quite a few. We've gotten a lot of signatures. I've got a stack of petitions sitting right here for the no tolls, vote before tolls petition, and then IP 37, which is the end vote by mail. I've got probably almost it looks like a ring of paper that I've got here full of petition signatures. So we're moving forward with that. But one of the things that we were able to repeal was that gas tax. Remember that gas tax that we just we fought like hell to get this repealed, and we did a good job on it. But after a year of failed attempts, Oregon lawmakers are back at square one on the transportation plan. And I'll tell you what, guys, you really screwed it up. You screwed it up. I forget what bill number it was. Let's read the article. Maybe it'll tell you right here. Oregon lawmakers have spent more than a year trying and failing, because that's what they do in the Oregon legislature. They're really good at failing, to secure more dollars to maintain the state's roads and bridges. Yet, in public and private meetings this week in Salem, they have found themselves back at square one. Yes, because they really just don't know what they're doing, folks. These people just do not know what they're doing. Without more funding soon, the Oregon Department of Transportation has warned it will have to cut back on road maintenance, emergency response, and EMV services, as well as lay off nearly 500 workers and cut another 570 vacant positions. Now that's BS. They have the money, folks. They have the money. They've got a DEI office in the Department of Transportation. They've got a DEI officer. They don't call her that, but I forget the name. I think is she the one who identifies as a turtle? There was one that identified as a turtle. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but these people, there's places to cut. There are people to get fired, not the guy on the road who is actually doing the repairs. What you need to, like I said, what you need to do is get rid of the blue-haired lady who's the DEI officer. She doesn't need to be there. It's perfectly okay. Nobody's being discriminated against. There's already laws against discrimination. So let's just get back to reasonableness and cut some of the overhead in the administration of these bureaucracies. I guarantee you could do it. With less than 3 weeks left until the start of this year's 5-week legislative session, and thank your lucky stars, it's only 5 weeks. 5 weeks of your rights being in danger, your money being in danger, 5 weeks of misery. That's what we call that. But this legislative section, the lawmakers are attempting to craft a plan to address the agency's $242 million budget deficit. In public committee meetings, they have scrutinized the department's spending and thrown out a variety of ideas to maintain and fix Oregon's highways and bridges, some more feasible than others. So once again, they don't know what they're doing. And by the way, they got this story from Oregon Live if you're interested in reading that. They want to increase our taxes, but we are a pretty highly taxed state. And this is another story that came out from the 2026 State Tax Competitiveness Index. And this is from the Tax Foundation, another organization that has fairly accurate information on things like taxes and livability, the Freedom Index, all that kinds of good stuff. And the Tax Foundation puts out every year their competitiveness for every state. And so if you look at Oregon, number 35 overall. So we're not really 50th, I guess. I guess we're not 50th. Yes. I don't know if you put in all the regulations and the rules. I don't know. I think we drag down that number. But according to the taxfoundation.org, Oregon is number 35. If you see right here, overall, we rank 35. Corporate taxes, we rank 49 because, well, we don't like businesses here. We don't want you to come here and do business. That's how much we suck. Individual income tax, well, that's pretty bad, 41 out of 50. Sales tax, 4, because we don't have a sales tax. We make up for it with all kinds of other taxes. Property taxes, we're 28 out of 50. So that's actually not too bad. Unemployment, 41 out of 50. So we rank 35 overall. And it says Oregon forgoes a sales tax, but doubles down on other forms of taxation. The state has a complex and progressive individual income tax system with 4 tax brackets, a top marginal rate of 9.9%, and a personal exemption structure as a tax credit. Additionally, the tax brackets are not adjusted for inflation, of course. Portland has the highest combined local income tax rate in the nation, 4%, adding an extra layer of tax burden for residents of the state's largest city. So, anyone who lives in Oregon knows not to live in Portland. And speaking of Portland, I got another story out of Portland. And this is also from Oregon Live. Let me see if I can share this. People who are always coming up with ideas to help the homeless, to get the home. We got to give them shelters. We got to give them houses. Well, I got news for you. They'll just destroy it. And I hate the word homeless because these are street people. These are criminal street people who don't want a home. They'll take one if you give them one. Of course, they'll take the drugs, the money, the shirt off your back, anything that you want to give them and anything they can take without you noticing, they'll do it. These are street people. These are street people, and we do a lousy job of protecting other people's rights against these street people. For some reason, we put these street criminals on a pedestal and we somehow call them homeless and think that, what the best thing to do is give them a shelter. But I want you to read this story along with me. It says Portland to evict nearly 100 shelter residents who are unwilling to engage, meaning they don't want to be part of society. They don't want to follow the norms of society. They don't want to be part of the rest of the people. They want us to pay for their drugs, and they want to lay around high on their fentanyl all day, just doing, the zombie dance. There's the shelters. This is what makes me mad. You see those shelters right there? If you and I were to purchase a property and we were to put up those shelters, and we put up accommodations such as a restroom, maybe we put up a laundry room, a communal laundry room that everyone in these little boxes had to share, and we charged maybe $100 a month for rent to rent these little boxes, we would be called slumlords. We would be called the worst. We would be castigated out of society because what we were doing to the downtrodden, those poor homeless people. Look at you rich, evil capitalist, forcing them to live in these little white boxes. How mean of you. And then you tell them, oh, wait, no, that's provided by the city of Portland. Oh, well, then it's okay. Oh, it's okay for the city of Portland to be a slumlord. Oh, well, that changes my mind. But if you or I own this same thing, and just think about that, maybe if private individuals were allowed to own something like this, where they could put these little small boxes, is what they look like. I don't know how else. Let me see the bigger picture. I don't know. They kind of look like storage sheds. It's some kind of weird, it's they call them a pallet house, but that's not made out of pallets. They look, that looks like metal, and they've got lighting. And like I said, if you and I got a lot property lot, half an acre, and we put those houses on it, we'd be just completely castigated for being slumlords. But if it's done by the city of Portland, well, they're doing it for your own benefit. But let me continue reading the story. They had to kick out some of the homeless people. You want to know why? Oh, let's read. It says Portland plans to exit. This is what they call about kicking out. They're gonna shit can a bunch of people, and they're gonna call it an exit. They're exiting 80 to 90 residents from its 24/7 alternative shelters in February for not engaging with offered services, according to a memo Mayor Keith Wilson sent to city councilors this morning. Any resident who is considered unwilling to engage and has been at the shelter for 120 days or more will be asked to leave. And where do you think these people are going to go? Well, they're probably going to head down here to Coos County, but any resident who is considered unwilling to engage and has been in a shelter for 120 days or more will be asked to leave. Exiting due to stay limits only occurs after many months, or in some cases years, you hear that, of persistent attempts to connect and collaborate with no level of engagement. Wilson wrote in the memo, the city of Portland cannot indefinitely utilize emergency units with individuals unwilling to engage with those who are here to help them, because they don't want your help. They want to do their drugs until they're dead in the streets. They literally don't care. I listen to this on the scanner every night here in our little Coos County, right here in our county. I don't know how many times I hear the same names repeated over and over and over. That OD'd, died, brought back to life, died, brought back to life. Why? They refuse to engage. We are in assisted suicide state, and if you're committing suicide with drugs, I say we should assist them. Let them go. I wouldn't waste a penny of Narcan. I mean, I feel like I have to have Narcan around my house in case one of my kids or my grandkids got a hold of it or something. You know, that's the worry we have. We take the kid to the park and they get a dirty needle or a dirty pill on the slide that day, and then they OD, and we have to give them Narcan. But these people, these street criminal people, why are we continuing to bring them back to life? Why are we continuing to give them money when they don't even want to participate? This is just insanity. This is pounding your head against the wall and expecting something different. And it makes me mad because we pay a lot of money for these properties. Those properties should be sold off to the highest bidder, and that highest bidder would have to pay property taxes on it. And it's a shame that this isn't happening. This is part of the problem that we are suffering here in Oregon. So that's just some of the things that we're dealing with. That's just some of the news. And I want to get on with our local things that are going on. Let's see. Let me go to. I'm trying to get this. Okay, why can't I watch this? Okay, and for some reason it's not working. I'm trying to get this video to play, and the video refuses to play. Okay, so let me go back to StreamYard here. Let me see if I can get this video up for you guys. We're having protesters come out to our event, and one of the protesters was on here earlier, one of the organizers for the protest. Let me go back in the comments. She was in the comments. I think her name is Emily. And she was the one from the Coos Bay Jam protest. I think that's Emily, one of the people who are going to be protesting. Emily, are you still there? Because I want to play your video from YouTube, because it's literally about what we're doing on the at our event, the American Values Tour. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to find out where the heck these videos are that I had. I can't find it. Okay, so let me go back to this again and see if I can share this. Let me see if I can share this. I'm having a heck of a time today. Okay, watch on YouTube. Okay, all right, I'm going to share this. Let me see. Let me share this page. Oh, that's the problem. I'm not sharing anything. Okay. All right. Let me get the page share up again. And I hate when I have these. I need a producer. I guess that's what I need. Let's see. My former producer is saying, yeah, I told you so. I told you need a producer. And let me add this to the stage. There's my MeWe account. And let me go ahead and play this. Let me make sure it's sharing, because this is the video. This was the lady who's having a protest, and she actually made a song for us. I kind of like this. Emily, thank you for the song. I appreciate that. I like someone who, if you're going to get creative, get creative. Oh, here, Jeff Pete has it. That's it. That's it. Okay, let me. Jeff Pete has it. It's right there. That's okay. I can show this and do full screen. And let me play this for you. Right here.
Hi, my name's Emily, and I want to invite you to a protest.
Hi, Emily.
There's been a lot of talk about the TPUSA event on the 29th, so my friends and I got ourselves a noise permit for the Steve Prefontaine Freeway, 2 doors down from the Egyptian Theater. Here's the thing. We know MAGA's never going to listen to us. You can't reason folks out of ideas they didn't reason themselves into. And I figure that means the main goal of our protest is messaging to folks who aren't MAGA.
Yeah, you guys who aren't
When we
MAGA.
protest by doing something cool, smart, wholesome, enjoyable, and interesting, we make it easier for people who might not always agree with Democrats to see the point of joining us in the fight against the fascists who are working to destroy everything this country stands for.
I guess that's
I only
me.
recently
I'm the
registered as a
fascist.
Democrat myself.
I don't know how. Hold
The
on.
point is to show ourselves,
Hold
to
on.
show our community.
Emily, I got to interrupt you. I'm not a fascist. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a nationalist, and I'm not a fascist. I'm an individualist. I believe in every individual's equal rights. So just so you know, I don't know if you're talking about other people, but if you're talking about our group, we're not fascist. I just got to put that out there, Emily. I don't want anyone to get the wrong message.
Community, what exactly it means to be a Democrat.
What does it mean to
Nothing
be a
to it
Democrat?
other than believing in truth and trusting in the Constitution. We can all go back to disagreeing about everything else after we fix this mess we're in. So it's going to be a jam session. We'll demonstrate that we're capable of working together on something that takes a little thinking by joining together in song. If you've got a guitar, a fiddle, a drum, kazoo, or a bucket and a stick, you bring it.
I got a bucket and
If
a
you have a voice,
stick.
you bring it. And if you know someone with any of those, you invite them. We'll be there with a microphone set up for folks to take turns leading the jam, and anyone who's a poet or a songwriter can show up with their own lyrics to take a turn telling it like it is. I have a refrain I'd like for us all to join in on, and it goes like this. United we stand. United we stand. United we stand.
She actually has a pretty nice voice.
United we stand.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not a bad
Simple,
voice.
right?
What do you guys think?
So I'll see y'all there no later than 6 o'clock with your whole family to
I'll take
sing
care of
and
that.
play along to these 3 very chords right here. Bring your instruments and be sure to take up all the street parking on the 101. There's a link below this video with the resources you might need to get yourself ready to play along with us if you're feeling shy.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a
Because
little
you don't
longer
want to be
and sing a
the
bit
only
for
one
you,
who
and
doesn't
I'm
know the
hoping it'll
chant.
inspire you to write some lyrics of your own. United we stand. United we stand. United we stand.
Hallelujah, baby.
United we stand. We are not a party, no, we're not a revolution. We believe in truth and we trust in the Constitution. We are
I believe
not
in
a
all
party,
that.
no, we're not a revolution. We believe in truth and we trust in the Constitution.
I agree with you.
And
She
we
does have a good
shall
singing
not
voice.
know, we shall not be overcome. No, we shall not know, we shall not be overcome.
Wow. Very good, Emily. Very good. We enjoyed that. I'm going to cut that off. Yeah, that was, she has a great singing voice. I didn't think there was anything bad with that. Samantha Frost says she doesn't know the Constitution isn't spreading lies. Well, actually, there were some things she did get confused about, but most of the things she said wasn't lies. Actually, we believe in truth and we believe in justice. We believe in the Constitution. I agree with her on this stuff. I just don't think we're fascist. And I certainly don't think I'm a nationalist. I'm not a Christian, so I'm not sure where she's getting off, because most of the people who are coming to this event, they are conservative Christians. I support their right to be conservative Christians. Fiscally, I'm a conservative. Socially, maybe not so much, but that's okay. Let's see. I'm getting a couple of comments here. It says, when I was you, being a Democrat was supporting the John Steinbecks out there. It wasn't all the violence and outrage crap going on. It seems to come from universities and prisons. Young, sorry, wrong word. Article 4, Section 4, Article 6, and Article 3, Section 3 is what she needs to read. Okay, Samantha, maybe Emily is watching. I don't know if she's still, or Marley. I don't want to call her the wrong thing. But yeah, she's, there we go. We can stop that now. We can just stop sharing. There we go. Go back to that. So I support her right to protest, but she comes off as Miss Peace and Love, but here is a picture of her and a person she was with at one of the last rallies. Let me add this to the stage. There you go. So I support her right to carry guns. I support her right to lawfully carry a weapon, to carry a rifle at a protest. I've done it myself, and I totally support these people's right to do this. What I don't support are the fact that there are people who are threatening and vandalizing the theater that you're protesting, Emily. I mean, here's the funny thing. You talked about culture once again in your video. I don't know what you're talking about. Your culture, our culture, their culture. We all have the same culture. We're Americans. We're Oregonians. We all share the same culture, Emily, Marley, whatever you're called. And you probably know many of the same people I know in this county. This is a small county. And we probably eat at the same places. We probably go to the same places. We probably do many of the same things. So the culture you're talking about is a culture that you and we all as Oregonians experience right now. The culture you're talking about is the pushing of a Marxist ideology. That's what you're talking about. To me, that's what I'm getting, is collectivism, that we need to get together and stop people from being individuals and thinking the way they want. They all got to think like you, Emily. And that's what I hear when I hear you talk. But when I hear people on my side of the aisle, we support your right to be different. We support your right to say the things you're saying. That's just not a two-way street, because we don't get it back this direction. So it's very odd, but I want to show you this, Emily. That right there, if you notice the rock on the ground there, that was the rock that was thrown at the window, missed the window, hit the mailbox. And that's not the only vandalism that's been going on at the Egyptian Theater, because people don't realize peaceful protest means keep your hands to yourself. That's right. Keep your hands to yourself is what that means. So the Egyptian Theater got vandalized. And the Egyptian itself is getting all kinds of horrible messages. And I've got I should have got the recording of the guy who threatened to kill Jill. That was just horrible. But here's one of the phone calls, Jill. This is the type of phone call Jill's been getting.
Hey, wow. You guys are in some muddy water, huh? Sucks to see a beautiful theater like this throw their morals out the window and the arts community to welcome MAGA and Turning Point into their space. Are we that hard up for money that we're going to invite this hateful rhetoric into our space and just claim that we're neutral? What? Like, you understand your patrons are art people, leftists, right? So what's the looking forward into the future for this, right? Do we think that people would be okay with this and still patronize your business after that? No, right? This is not Turning Point USA is so out of the sphere of your normal people, right? So I will be telling everyone I know never to go to the Egyptian theater again. I will never be back. Can't believe you guys have done this to your reputation. Like, growing up, that theater was beautiful. We brought it back to life. It was doing great things. And then we're this desperate for money that we're going to take Turning Point USA's and ostracize so much of your own community. So good call. Good luck. Have fun. We'll never be back again. Find a new director. Jill can go shack up with Turning Point if she wants, but you guys have caused so much harm to your business. It's unreal. Hi. Wow. You guys are in some muddy water, huh?
So Jill has been taking those phone calls since we started this event, and she's not political. She doesn't give a damn about politics. She thinks that she allows them to do drag shows at that theater. And I've never protested that. I mean, I think as long as they're 18 or over and they're not having kids at these drag shows, I think that's absolutely great. Go have fun at the drag show, have a great time. And I support your right to express yourself however you want to do it. I don't protest those things. Why are we being protested? We're not spreading fascism. We're not spreading hate. And this gentleman saying that Jill renting a venue, being neutral and just renting a venue to everyone who comes and pays for the contract, makes her part of this event, which is not true. And he said that it ostracizes anyone on the left who was a contributor to the theater. That's not true either, because she's still going to have shows and events that the left appreciate and like. And I hate to say left or right, because when it comes to arts and entertainment, it transcends ideology. It transcends left or right. I mean, people on the right can like art just as much as anyone on the left. This is just silly that they would even come to this conclusion. But Jill's fighting for everyone's right to have free speech. And there was a comment just made by Brandy Martin. It's on the screen right now. Let's see if I got it. Let's see. Boy, people, you guys are really commenting now. Let me catch up with this. She says, "We are not fascist, Emily. My family fled to this country to escape fascism. If you lived in a truly fascist nation around truly fascist people, you wouldn't have the right to run your mouth like that. The fact that you're free to speak like that without consequence is a testament to how truly free you are." And I agree with you. And I would support. And here's the thing, Emily, Marley, me and Brandy would be the first to support your right. If the police or the city said, no, Marley, you can't go out there and you can't protest these people, I'd be the first one to say, no, let this lady protest us. How dare you? I would be the first to go into the city. I would work to get you a lawyer to sue the city so that you could protest our event. That's how much I would fight for the First Amendment. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like the fact we're being protested. I don't like the fact you're spreading all these lies about us. We're not fascist. And it ticks me off that I would still, and I shouldn't be ticked off about it because I would do it for anyone. But Emily, Marley, I would do it for you. If the city said you couldn't protest our event, I would find you an attorney. I would find you a First Rights Amendment group to sue the city so that you can come and protest me. That's the kind of person I am. Just saying. Dia says, "Are you live now?" I was live before. Marty says, sounds like SJC. No, it's not. It was a different person. Dia says, Feeple. Brandy says, Rob, looking forward to hearing about the effort to make sure our theater gets the support it needs. One good thing about conservatives, they work, so they have money. Let's put it where our mouths are. FYI, the public brought the Egyptian back to life. Those were tax dollars paid by the working class. This guy acts like he paid for it himself. I know, he acts like a bunch of LGBTQ people came and saved that theater. We all just saved it. If it wasn't for us, we wouldn't have had the theater. And that's not true, because if you go into the theater doors, the lobby, on the right-hand side of the theater, I want you to go all the way over to the right-hand side, and there's a plaque on the wall. And on that wall, there's names of the top people, the top donators, the contributors to that theater, and the top 5 names are conservatives. Go look. You don't believe me? Go look. Yep. Dennis Beetham is the top name on there. He's a conservative. He gave a hell of a lot more money to that theater than probably the LGBTQ crowd combined. And I can guarantee you, Dennis, he's going to that event. I believe he's going to the dinner beforehand. So you out there who think you selfish, you self-centered people who think you're the only ones who contribute to society, you're wrong. A lot of conservatives and a lot of the working class built that theater on our backs. So you have no right to claim it for yourselves. Just ridiculous. Dia says these people just have personal guilt and are wanting to be famous. They are all sick. And that's okay. If Emily Marley wants to be famous, I hope to make her famous. That would be really cool if she became famous. Like, let's say Marley becomes the next Barbra Streisand. I doubt it will happen. Babs, I don't know. I don't know what they would call Emily. They call Barbra Streisand Babs. I don't know what we'd call Emily. Say she becomes the next big star singer. I want to be able to go around telling people that Emily or Marley, whatever she goes by, that one of her first songs she did was about our event. Wouldn't that be cool if she became really famous? And then she could talk about, the fascists that she had to deal with in Coos County. And I can go, hey, that was me. I could stand outside the Grammys, when Emily wins the Grammy for her song, Fascist in Rural American Oregon. That will be her song. I'll stand outside the Golden Globes. Is that the awards, the Country Music Awards, whatever the hell it is. I'll stand out there. Yay, Emily, I'll hold a sign. Emily, remember you wrote a song about our event. Yay. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, Dia. So I don't know. These people do. They have personal guilt. They have a lot of emotional issues. But yeah, she probably wants to be famous. That's why she's doing this. And I would like to make her famous. I would like everyone to know Emily was that crazy leftist. And I shouldn't say crazy. She actually didn't sound crazy. She sounded pretty reasonable. She was one of the leftists who made a song, her first song, about our event. That would be kind of cool. Sandy Arquette Slay says, why are the other side able to plan at the Coos Bay Fire Department? Well, Sandy, we could too. You could too. Anyone can rent the room. In fact, it's a really good room to rent. Several of the fire departments has a big conference room, and anyone can rent those rooms. I don't know whether you knew that or not. I think it's like $50, $40, something like that. You can go rent the room, the conference room at the fire departments. I don't know whether you knew this, Sandy, but anyone can do it. So if I can do it, we've had our meetings at the fire department. I totally support Emily's right to have her meeting at the fire department. Sandy says, but they don't want us at the Egyptian. No, they don't want us at the Egyptian. I don't care. I still support Emily's right to not want us at the Egyptian. Carol Cheney says, I am so looking forward to seeing Mo Bannon and hearing from her. She was with Charlie Kirk in South Korea the week before he got murdered. That's right. We've got Mo Bannon coming here. And he's definitely going to be able to tell us the story about that. I think it's pretty impressive. I think it's something that I hope maybe she has the time to share with us when we're at the dinner. I don't know. I don't know. But I do want to share something else from Emily's website. Here, let me see if I can get this put up here. You'll like this. You'll like this. Just give me a second. Let me find this. Okay. Okay, let me stop that. Go back here. Let me share the screen. You're gonna like this. Hold on, Carolyn. I'm sorry. It takes me a while. I'm old. I'm old and feeble. I just can't do it. But here's Emily again. She made a short video, and I want to share it here with you guys because that's the kind of guy I am. I think Emily, she's doing her best to be famous, and we should do our best to do everything we can to help her with that. I think that's a good thing. And here's Emily again. And let's see, I can go ahead and play that. Let me turn up the volume for you. Let me play this for you.
They're sending Steve Bannon's daughter. It's come to light that the mystery guest speaker for the TPUSA event is Maureen Bannon, daughter of Steve Bannon, Trump's first presidential campaign director and a major policy architect for the Republican Party since then. This represents a huge push on their part to reclaim the culture, to make sure that it doesn't slip between their fingers before the midterms comes. They're scared, and they should be. Our culture is something far better than they can ever offer to these kids that they're trying to inculcate with Christian nationalist and white supremacist ideologies. We are the place where our community belongs. We are the activities that our community wants to do. We will join together and protest this assault on our good American culture in our county. I look forward to seeing you on the 29th.
And that's a little bit more of Emily. Are you starting to like her now? She's quite entertaining, that Emily, let me tell you. But I'm glad, Carol Cheney, you're so looking forward to see Mo Bannon. I guess Emily, I should give her a dinner ticket and ask her to come to the dinner so that we can prove to her we're not fascist, and actually we're kind. We'll feed her. In fact, I should invite her and her partner, if she has a partner along, to the dinner, and then she could meet Mo Bannon and maybe see for herself that she's not so fascist. I don't know. I'm going to go to the committee, and I think I'm going to ask them and see if Emily wants to go to the dinner the night before. I don't know, but once again, she's talking about culture and how we're scared because, as you can see, I'm terrified. I'm trembling in my boots, and I'm scared, Emily, because you got big, mean guns, and they could be pointed at me, and your words are sharp and could put out my eyes. And yeah, Emily, I'm scared. And so that's why we're bringing in Mo Bannon. And so the reason we're bringing in Mo Bannon is because I've got a friend who is friends with Mo Bannon, and he said, hey, you lost a speaker for your event. Would you like a national speaker? And I said, yeah, that was the nefarious reason. That was the only reason we decided to have Mo Bannon. But I'm a big fan of Steve Bannon. I think he's right on China. I think he's absolutely right on China. We got a few problems with the Chinese, and I think we got a few problems with Russia, and it's because of the communists. They want to take over our country, and they know right now there's people like Emily and a whole bunch of other young people who, well, they're a little confused. She probably went to college. She probably got educated, indoctrinated into the woke agenda, and now that's what she's looking forward to. Diaz laugh out loud. That's funny. He said people, not people. Interesting. Let's see. You guys are commenting faster than I can get the comments up. Stocks Family Farm says she helped a lady escape after she assaulted me in June, all on video. Oh, Emily. So you're covering for people who commit assault. Well, that's not going to happen at this event, because I can assure you we're going to have a lot of people there. And I know you think you're really cool with all your guns and all your military gear, and you got your utility belt, but the people that we have on our security team, which is an all volunteer team, they're first responders. They've served in the military. They've been security guards. They've worked on professional security teams. These are all professionals. And I would recommend don't have your people mess with our people, because you'll get messed up real quick. Our people are professionals. They've been trained. Your people, they play banjos and buckets with sticks. That's what you guys do. So just to make sure you know, just to make sure we're clear, please don't mess with my security crew, because they're badass and they're not going to tolerate anything. Dia says, well, if I can get back up there, she says, they don't care. They just want to ruin us. Yeah, they don't. They really don't. And Carolyn Cheney says, dinner. Carolyn, you didn't know about the dinner? The private dinner with Mo Bannon? Why don't you give me a private message on Facebook? Don't go to my profile, Rob Taylor Report. Just go to my regular friend page and send me a message, and I'll send you a link to a dinner. And you're more than welcome to come. It's $50 a plate, and you'll get to have dinner. Mo's going to be there. The guys from Turning Point's going to be there, and a lot of very important people from all over the state are going to be coming to this dinner. And well, you have to be special to know about the dinner. That's why we had a general event at the Egyptian, and that's where we had the speakers. But before, the night before, we're having a special dinner for a special group of people who are very dedicated to making this county not change into a commie crap hole. We don't want this county to turn into a commie crap hole, and we don't want people on the left in charge. We don't mind them participating, but we want people in government who actually believe in the Constitution, limited government, low taxes, low regulations, those kinds of things. I know it's crazy. Emily Marley, you don't bring me flowers anymore. Yeah. I have several interviews with her. I should make a compilation video. You should, and we'll play it here. Make a compilation video, and we'll play it here. Dia says, oh my is right. Brandy says, I see Emily as a big fan of emotional manipulation. Well, isn't that what the left is about? That objective reasoning is out the window with these leftists. I mean, anyone who went to the meeting where they were organizing and they kept saying, I was the owner of Herbal Choices, which is a lie, total lie. I don't have any stock in Herbal Choices. They just happen to be sponsors of the show. But wow, the lies they were spreading about me. And nobody ever called me. If Emily would have called me, I would have been more than happy to have coffee with her. She could ask me any question she wanted. I mean, I just don't understand these people. If you're going to protest someone, you might want to find out what they're about before you protest them. I know that's just crazy. Jeff B says the horror. We are so scared, laughing my freaking ass off. Yes, the horror. The horror. We are so worried. We're so worried about Emily. Yes. I don't know if I showed you that picture of Emily. It was quite funny. That picture on the left, don't they look like Raggedy Ann and Andy? I don't mean to make fun of people's looks, but with their little outfits there and their guns, they look, if I had a name for this photo, I would call it Raggedy Ann and Andy Got a Gun. That's what we would call that photo. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm just not being nice. I don't know. I apologize. Talk about brainwashing. Yeah, no kidding. Carol Cheney says, sounds like she wants attention. Yeah, not the kind of attention that any of us want to give her. Oh boy, talk about psychotic. Yeah, just a little psychotic. Yeah, and she thinks we're the ones who are going to be indoctrinating children after that diatribe she spit out there. How disgusting. Stock Family Farm says her and the CCD organizer, Selena, led a meeting about how to deal with me being down there filming them. Oh, they actually had a meeting about you. It was funny. Last Tuesday, we had a meeting about the event. So we were meeting about the meetings, or we were meeting about the event, and they were having a meeting about our meeting about the event because they were going to protest the event. So it was so funny because we had some of our people at their meeting, and of course we were having our meeting. I wonder, no, they couldn't have had any of their people at our meeting because I knew everyone. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know why it's theirs and ours and everyone else's. We're all Oregonians, Emily. We're all Oregonians. We share the same culture. Same culture. I'm telling you, you just don't know. Why does Emily's American culture sound like something you find growing in a petri dish? I know. Culture is something you experience, not something you grow in a petri dish. Wow, that should be a meme somewhere. I like that. Very good. Craig Cheney says 100% on China. Yeah, Steve Bannon and Mo Bannon especially are right on with China. I mean, we've got a senator here, a Republican senator who was made in China. Yep, made and paid for in China. That's I don't care what anyone says. I believe that totally. The guy has been getting paid off by very wealthy people who made a lot of money in China. He's got a lot of his tentacles in China. He's met with a lot of Chinese officials. What can I tell you? The guy, as far as I'm concerned, well, he's got a few chinks in his armor. That's all I got to say about David Brock Smith. He's just got a few chinks in his armor. And that's not racist at all. That's an old expression. Go look it up. Brandy Martindale. Hey, Rob, we should do a show together where you go through some of these videos, voicemails, and comments, and I'll break down exactly what manipulation tactics they're using. Ooh, that sounds fun, Brandy. I like that. Maybe. Okay, Stocks Family Farm, you get that compilation together. And we'll have Brandy on. You can come on and we'll do the compilation, and then Brandy can analyze it for us. And she'll be like our mental Sherpa. That's right. She'll be our psychic Sherpa. Well, not psychic. Psychic's a therapist Sherpa, right? I'll come up with a name. We'll figure something out, Brandy. I don't know. I'm working on it. Dia says, get Valley Ray out to you. He films the protest in Portland almost daily. Valley Ray, I know the name. I'm sure I've watched his videos, Dia. I'm sure I have. Carolyn says, Brandy Martindale, what can I find out about the dinner? Once again, Carolyn, send me a DM. I have your phone number. You got my phone number, Carolyn? Well, give me a call after the show. Heck yeah. We'll get you there. I don't have Facebook, but Chris has my number, and I'd like to go, if possible, as the only man on the street in town. And he is the only man on the street in town because, well, you just probably are the only one who can stand it. You work on a farm, so you're used to farm animals. So foul smells and rude noises is probably something you're used to. So I'm just saying, Stocks Family Farm, you've got a dirty job there. And so good luck with that, but you do excellent work. I just love your stuff. That picture is from June when they surrounded me. Oh, geez, that's always nice. Marty says, I talked with Emily at one of the boardwalk events. After 10 minutes of calmly dissecting her argument, she wandered off. Yeah. Well, she does seem nice in person from the interactions I've seen her involved with. Marty reposted the video of me getting attacked by Silas, the protest organizer. Oh, cool. And he says, I'll work on that tomorrow. So, Brandy, we're going to get that compilation video. You don't worry. We'll get that compilation video, and we will take care of all of that. But I got to get on to some other stuff. Yeah, what was I doing here? Boy, Emily, I enjoyed your music. I enjoyed your protest. I hope to see you out there. I love a good protest. So hopefully I'll see you out there. We'll say hi. We'll all try to be civil, and everyone will get to do what they need to do, and everyone will get their rights totally unhinged, uninfringed. That's what we want in our city and our county here. But we are working. If you guys want to get out to the headquarters, we had a problem with finding the key today. The lady who normally is there from 2 to 6 on Mondays is not going to be there. I'm going to be there from 2 to 6 on Wednesdays and Thursdays to get signatures, and every fourth Saturday. We're going to do these super Saturdays, and the next Saturday will be coming up fairly soon, and we can get your signature. We can have you come out, and we have all 4 petitions. We got end vote by mail. We got vote before tolls. We got let us paddle and end the death tax. End the death tax, because you work so hard paying off your property, and then you have to continue paying all the property taxes on your property, and then you die and you leave that to your kids, and then your kids have to pay an inheritance tax on it. That's not fair. That's not right. That's destroying generational wealth. That hurts minorities and minority families. They too gain wealth by having one generation hand down their wealth down to the next generation, their property, their values, their businesses, all of that goes down to the next generation. The government comes in and says, no, we're going to tax at such a high level, you're going to have to sell everything that you inherited, and that's just the way we work now. And so we want to stop that, and you can sign that petition. So there's 4 petitions now at the headquarters. I will be there from 2 to 6 this Wednesday and this Thursday. I had to remind everyone that Scott Pressler canceled for June 21st. We were very sad about that. We had great plans for this young man coming in. And by the way, Emily, Scott Pressler, he's gay. That's right. I don't know. I don't think he's a fascist. He doesn't sound like a fascist. He doesn't act like a fascist, but I do know the young man is a gay young man. He identifies as a gay young man, and we have no problem working with gay people. Isn't that weird? Isn't it for a fascist? Wow, you would think if I was a fascist and a homophobe, I wouldn't want to work with this guy, Scott Pressler. But no, he was going to come out here, and we had him a nice room at the casino where he could stay, and he got called off to Texas. He got called off for a very good thing, and that's okay. We're not going to have him here. We're not going to have him here on the 21st. Gary Landry says, not if it's in a trust. Was I told wrong? Reason, estate tax. I don't know. I don't know if being in a trust will get you out. I've heard that, but I'm not a tax expert, so I couldn't really answer it. That's something I had planned that on my radio show many years ago, to have a tax expert on the show to talk about estate planning. And I should do that, because that would be a really interesting show, because honestly, I don't like to give any advice because I suck at finances. Okay. If I was really good at finances, I wouldn't be doing this show. I'd be doing my big multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar business because I was good at finances. I'm just not good at finances. And so I don't know. I do know that our family, now that we have property, it took us decades and decades to finally get property, all that hard work and effort we put into it. So we just don't want our kid to have to pay taxes on it, no matter whether we have a trust or not. And just, I don't know what to tell you. Marty says, log cabin Republicans are a large group of gay conservatives. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The LGBTQ group is that they're really not the same people. They're different people, and they have different needs and desires. Gary Landry says, my attorney told me that the one that did my trust. I don't know. We've got a really good trust. One of the best trust writers I heard, he lives here in town for the state of Oregon. His name is Robin Miller. And I heard he was a really good attorney for writing up trust. I don't know if that's true or not, but he has a good reputation for that. Carol Cheney says, Scott is a hard worker. Texas is early voting in February for March 3rd voting. And yep, that's probably why Scott took off. And he is a hard worker. That's the other thing. I've worked for a lot of people who were gay or lesbian, and I'll tell you right now, most of them were damn hard workers. I worked for this lesbian boss at an import factory back in Albuquerque, and she could put us guys, she could go toe to toe with any guy there, unloading trucks, stacking boxes, bringing in inventory, doing displays and stuff. She could go toe to toe with any guy. It was great. We'd have to get in there early in the morning and lift all this heavy furniture and all these heavy appliances and products off the truck. And she was right there with us the whole time. I don't know why people think that just because someone's gay or they have a different lifestyle that they're not conservative. It's strange how they think that it's like there's like black people. When you got one black person speaking for all the black people, it's like, well, wait a minute. I don't think all black people think like, if there was a white person speaking for all white people, tell them to shut the hell up. Yeah, just a thought. Ivan Hawker, Ivan, good to see you. He says, has to be over a certain amount before you're taxed, from what I understand. And yes, it's so for this petition, it's over $500,000. But today, a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom house can be over $500,000 if it's in the right location and it's a newer house. I mean, it doesn't take much to get a property up to $500,000. So you are right. It does have to be a certain amount. And Marty says, if your assets, house, etc., are in a trust, then those who benefit from the trust when you pass don't pay inheritance. So that is something to look at. And once again, I don't think Marty is a tax expert, but I believe he knows a little bit more about trust than probably most. No probate, no estate taxes. Oh, interesting. Stock Family Farm says, I live in a log cabin, definitely not gay. Okay. All right. So not everyone who lives in a log cabin is a gay. Okay. Just want to throw that out there. Not every woman who wears flannel is a lesbian. Just want to put that out there just so everyone knows. And Ivan Hawker says, oh man, I usually watch this on the old fake book. Much better on YouTube. Well, thank you. Yeah, YouTube, definitely. I don't know why YouTube and Rumble seem to put it out at a much better quality. I don't know why that is. I really don't know. Let's see here. Brandon Hart is coming in concert. And I did an interview with this young man. Once again, a young Christian conservative, and he may not fit the role model of a Christian. I mean, he does like to drink. He likes to cuss. I mean, he's married now or has a girlfriend, so he's in a steady relationship, but he used to like the women's. He liked the women's. I mean, all young men do. Thank goodness that young men still like women's, because, if they didn't like women's, we wouldn't be having children anymore. So thank goodness young men's likes the women's. And so Brandon Hart is no different from any other red-blooded American man. And he did an interview. He's coming in concert. Let me see if I can find that concert bill. Oh, no, wrong one. Wouldn't you know it? It was the wrong one. Image file. Let's try this again. So I did an interview with him, and you can catch this interview on Rumble and talk about better quality. The quality was just lousy when I did it live and I just played the interview on the computer. The quality was just lousy. So I took that down and I just put up the original interview unedited, and you can find that on Rumble. Go to my Rumble channel. But he is coming to town. He's going to be in Coos County, and this is happening on January 30th. This is a free concert. I am such a fascist, and our group are such fascist Nazis. We decided to give you guys a free concert. That's how Nazi fascist we are. I tell you what, I don't know. I don't think we're very good fascist. I just don't think we're very good at it. But we're giving you a free concert, and you got to get there early, because once we hit the limit, meaning we can't fit any more people in the building, I think it's like 400, and we're going to have these little clickers to make sure, okay, enough, you're all out. Okay, so we're going to make sure, get the right amount of people in there, and if you want to be part of this concert, come out Friday night. It's a non-alcoholic event because, well, we don't want you guys drunk and bashing up the place. But it is a free concert. You can purchase food from the Elkhorn food truck. They're going to be there. We're going to have drinks. We're going to have snacks, all kinds of good stuff. I highly recommend it. Oh, Ivan Hawker. That's funny. He says, you're wearing a flannel. Yes, I know. But then again, I'm not a woman. So it still wouldn't make me a lesbian. Unless my inner woman is a lesbian. I think she is. I think the woman when I get in touch with my inner female, she's definitely a lesbian, a flannel wearing lesbian. Yep. I think she chews tobacco too. I don't know. Maybe it's just my breath. I don't know. Gary Landry says, I just looked, and it is over 1 million in Oregon. I don't have to worry about that. LOL, estate taxes. Yeah. Most people, if you don't have a lot to leave down, you're not going to get taxed a lot. But if you got a farm and you leave your farm to your kids, I can guarantee you most farms are probably over $500,000 or $1 million. So it's not good. It's not good at all. Stocks Family Farm says, I would like to attend the dinner if possible. I have to go. Have a great night. Talk soon. And I'll be in touch with you, Stocks Family Farm, and I'll be in touch with you, Carol Cheney. And I got to remind you all, Coos County's American Value Tours, you can get your ticket at the Egyptian Theater, and they're going fast, folks. This stuff is going fast because why? They want to go see Mo Bannon. Everyone wants to go see Mo. And then they want to go see the guys. They want to see Nolan Crombie, and they want to see Lincoln at the event. This is going to be good. The Turning Point speakers, all good stuff. All good stuff we're going to watch. And let's see here. Oh, I can't find my... Here it is. Let's add this one to the stage. There you go. There, if you scan this QR code, it will take you to the events page where you can purchase the tickets. Okay, just thought I'd show you that. And let's see, do I got anything else we need to talk about before I get out of here? Yes, I do. If you haven't done it yet, this is very important, folks. If you're a Democrat or a Republican, you should be involved with your party because you want your party to be going in the right direction. If you're a moderate Democrat, I plead with you, please become a PCP, a precinct committee person for your party. If you're a Republican, please, I want you to get registered as a PCP, especially if you're a conservative Republican, so that you can help give the direction to the Republican Party here in Coos County. They've lost their direction. They've clearly lost their direction. We need to give them that direction. Steve Nye says, I would be happy to buy Emily's dinner ticket. Wow. We will have to contact Emily. Because I would like her to go and see and maybe meet us. I would like to give Emily the chance. She doesn't look like a bad person. She doesn't sound like a bad person. She has a pretty damn good voice. So I don't know. Steve will work on that. Well, let's work on that. Ivan says, go Mission. And Ivan Hunker says, go Miami. Spell correct. What can I say? Let's see. Coos County Republican Central Committee. This is why you want to become a precinct committee person, so you can be on the Central Committee and help the direction of your party. It's the utmost importance for both parties, because if we had more moderate Democrats who were in the party, maybe the party wouldn't be as far left as it is now. I got to remind you guys that they're having a meeting on January 20th. That's tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. at the Owen Building. I didn't look at the agenda. Bobby sent out the agenda. I didn't happen to look at it, but I will watch it. I'll see what's going on there, because there's always stuff going on at the Board of Commissioners meeting. And of course, the largest city in Coos County, Coos Bay, is having their city council meeting tomorrow at 6:00. Let me get rid of that banner so you guys can read that. You still can't read that. Well, I got to fix that. Coos Bay City Council meeting. This is happening at 6:00 Tuesday, January 20th. Once again, I don't know what's on the agenda. I have no idea, but I'd recommend people getting involved and going and finding out what the hell is happening here. That's pretty much all I've had for news stories. I hope you enjoyed it. I do have to go over some of the sponsors I have because, they just kick ass. 3H Tree Service. Heroes don't just wear capes. Heroes just don't carry badges. Let me show you what heroes do. This to me is a hero. This is your everyday blue collar hero. Let me show you a hero. This is a hero. This is 3H Tree Service, and this is them on Highway 101 when we had some of the trees fall over. I think this is Highway 101. That's right, 3H Tree Service out there keeping the roads safe. They're not just my sponsors, they're freaking heroes. And they just did the Where's 3H Tree Service game today, and somebody won. What a great company for our county. And I hope Matt Holman and his crew is going to be at our dinner. I haven't checked the tickets. I'll have to go back and check. But if you want to find out more about 3H Tree Service, go to 541-294-1800. Give them a call, talk to Matt, and schedule them to come out and take care of those trees, because maybe they're a liability. You got branches hanging over your eaves. You got them hanging over your garage. Maybe they're hanging over your neighbor's garage. You don't want to pay for his car. So you need to take out those trees. And the nice thing is that 3H Tree Service, they'll come in, they'll take out those trees with surgical precision, and they'll leave you a beautiful view, and they'll clean up after themselves. You won't even know. You won't even know they were there. Their license number is 100237, and you can call them at 541-294-1800, or go to the Facebook page, 3H Tree Service Company. Company Facebook page is the same as their the business name, 3H Tree Service. And of course, Tom and Gigs. I know Shanna and Tim are going to be at the private dinner. In fact, Shanna and Tim, they're so cool. They bought the tickets for the Turning Point guys, the two speakers. They bought the tickets for those guys. Thank you, Tim from Tom and Gigs. And by the way, I have to give kudos to the city of North Bend. They made we had to switch the names or the people who were listed for renting the North Bend Community Center. We had a little bit of a switch in our committee, and so we had to put a new name on the North Bend Community Center for the concert. And the North Bend City, Macy, who is, I don't know her position. I don't know if she's assistant manager. I don't know what her title is for the city. Wonderful lady, very nice. I invited her to the concert because she made it so easy to switch that name out. It was very easy. The city does really good work when they do good work, and I have to give them kudos. I tried to get into David Milliron's office. He was in a meeting, but I tried. I was going to go in there, and I was going to give David kudos. David Milliron, if you're watching, kudos to your city for taking care of that change, because they could have charged us a fortune for it, but they didn't. They were very nice, and they made the switch with no problem. And so anyone who ever complains about, renting the community center at North Bend, go try it yourself. It's really not that hard, and it's a really nice facility. It's a little old, it's a little aged, but that's okay. What isn't in Coos County? And so I have to give kudos to the city of North Bend. But Tom and Gigs, their owners, Tim and Shanna, they provided the tickets for the speakers, Nolan Crombie and Lincoln Cazares, who is coming from other parts of the state to speak here. I think Nolan is a national speaker for Turning Point, and that's so cool that we got him coming here. But they're going to be sitting with Tim and Shanna at the dinner. And if you want to go to Tom and Gigs to get your cars fixed, because they rock, they're really just kick ass. They sponsor a lot of good stuff. Tom and Gigs does. You can reach them at 541-888-4660. I mean, if you need shocks, you need struts, you need your alignment fixed, boy, Tom and Gigs is the place to go. I just talked to a friend who took their car over to they took their car to the actual a dealership to get their car fixed. And the dealership screwed it up, didn't do a good job. So they took it over to Tom and Gigs, and Tom and Gigs was able to take care of it. I just heard that story from a friend of mine. So if you're looking for a good, honest, reputable automotive center, this is the place, Tom and Gigs. And like I said, they have great service. The nice thing is do you know if your car is travel worthy? I don't even know if my car is travel worthy. I need to take it over to Tom and Gigs, but you can too. And they'll tell you whether your car is travel worthy. They're at 135 South Shunman Street in Coos Bay in the Empire neighborhood, right behind the car wash. And they're more than just an automotive center. They also have a lot of neat little toys and kits over there. They got lift kits. They got performance accessories. They've got those tonneau covers they can put on your truck. Those are really cool. We got one of those. Those are really cool. But they've got drones. They got RC cars, lots of RC cars. They got RC boats, Tom and Gigs, for all your RC needs. They got all the parts over there. They can tell you all about this stuff. They've got the Hero Copters. Really neat stuff. They got the planes. Take your kid over there. Take your kids over there. They'll have a great time. It's like the modern day Radio Shack, and they've got a lot of neat stuff there. They got Tannerite too, but you have to be 18 or over to purchase Tannerite, and they will ask for your ID. Herbal Choices, the herbal dispensary of my choice for all your herbal needs. You can go to the herbalchoices.com website and find out more about Herbal Choices. I highly recommend it. And once again, you have to be 18 years or old or 21 years or older to purchase or even be in the store. You can't even go into any marijuana dispensary unless you're 21 or over. And I totally agree with that. If you're someone who's getting high with someone under 21, you've got serious problems. Why do you need to, if you're an adult and you're smoking with kids, you've got more problems than just smoking dope with kids, even though that should be illegal and it should be punishable with a certain amount of time in jail. You shouldn't be ruining kids' lives. And kids, believe me, there are other things to do than sit around, smoke dope, and do drugs. Life is an adventure, and it's a participation event that you have to participate in to get any real good things out of life. All the good things, all the things that you want to happen in your life, well, you have to participate to actually make that happen. Let's see. The Herbal Choices, they do have 5 locations. Charleston, Coos Bay, Bandon, Reedsport, and North Bend. And abstinence, I'm selling this by the pound. I'm selling this by the bottle. I don't care how we have to sell it, but I'm going to sell it. I'd like to sell it to all those street criminals on fentanyl. All they need to do is just abstain from their criminal activity, abstain from doing the drugs, and we'd have a lot better place. But that's something we all need to look to. A little bit of abstinence for everybody. I highly recommend that. And of course, Oregon Firearms Federation, the only no compromise gun group in Oregon. And they're a real gun group. They've been fighting for our rights for a long time. I'm going to get Kevin on the show sometime. I know I've been promising that, but we need to get him on here. OregonFirearms.org. They're not my sponsors, but I like to recommend them because people who own guns should know how to use guns. And if you live in Bandon or in Coos County, the Bandon Gun Club at bandongunclub.org can help you out. TaigaSportsPark.org can help you out. Maybe Emily or Marley can go over to Taiga Sports Park because she likes guns, and I support her right to own guns. I support her right to protest, and I support her right to go to Taiga Sports Park if she wants or so chooses to learn more about firearms. I think that's a wonderful thing, Emily. That's everyone should do that. Coos County Neighborhood Watch. If you're not a member, I suggest you become a member because they're one of the few places where if you wake up in the morning and you've been a victim of a crime, I guarantee you they probably know about it and know the perpetrator already on Coos County Neighborhood Watch. It's amazing how they catch people in live time. It's really cool. Very cool stuff. And of course, Coos County Citizen Council, that is Chris Castleman's group. I don't know if he's going to do anything on this Wednesday. I hope he does. I don't know if he did anything last Wednesday, but we'll find out. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. I want to thank you all for joining me. I got one comment left here. Doug Farrell says, complaints to 3H Tree Service who just took down our neighbor's ginormous hedge. Boy, does it improve her property. Complaints. Compliments. Let me put on my glasses before. I'm sorry, Doug. I thought that said complaints. It says compliments to 3H Tree Service who just took down our neighbor's ginormous hedge. Boy, does it improve her property. There you go, Matt. There you go. Once again, taking care of business. Why? Because he's a good patriot, a good businessman, and he takes care of business when you hire him for the job. Thank you, Doug. I hope to see you tomorrow. Your lovely wife, Gail, will be taking care of business and doing another planning meeting. I want to thank you all for tuning in because it's just been a blast. Let's see. I think there was, let me see. Let me make sure. I did want to announce one thing before I get out of here. Just one thing. A young man that I've been keeping an eye on for a while, his name is David Medina. In fact, David Medina was the first person that I wanted for our event here, the American Values Tour. And something happened. We weren't able to get David Medina, and we got Angela Todd. Something happened with Angela Todd. We couldn't get her. She had to cancel out. We had to switch her. And then we got Mo Bannon, which was incredible. Incredible. Mo Bannon is coming here to Coos County. It's really cool. But David Medina was my first choice. And I had called David Medina back before Mo had confirmed. And David called me and said he would love to do this event. And I said, David, I'm sorry. I just got off the phone yesterday with Mo. She confirmed. So I'm going to have to pass on you being one of the speakers. And then today, or was it yesterday? It was today on the Benny Show. David Medina announced that he was going to run for governor. So I kicked myself for not. Maybe we should have made time for David. It would have been kind of cool to have him come down here, but it's no politics. And so I don't know if we would have been able to have him as a speaker. We'll get him out here again. But David Medina is running for governor. And if you don't remember who David Medina is, this is the group of guys that he organized at the ICE facility in Portland.
USA! 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 USA!
And fuck Antifa!
All right, and they were cheering on Nick Shirley. I apologize for the foul language. I try not to do that on Mondays, but that was David Medina. Nick Shirley was there, and it was a really great time. I was there that night, and getting old sucks. I get tired by 10 o'clock, and so me and Dave Brown and Dane, we packed it in, and we left, and all the young guys were coming out at that point in time. And so we had talked to David, we talked to Nick Shirley and all them. And that happened that night. And that was really cool. Like I said, you can get a feeling, you can get a feel for someone who has political desires and who wants to move up the ladder. And if they are good quality people, you want to help them. You want to be able to maybe mentor them a little bit and help them evolve into a better politician. I know it's hard because we're talking about politicians, but David Medina is now running for governor. I think it's a great idea. This is not an endorsement because I don't endorse until probably the last couple of weeks before the end of the primary, because I don't know who's going to jump in. Rumor has it that Chris Dudley is going to jump in. I heard Shale Sonnet was going to jump in, the MMA fighter, the MMA, he owns the MMA, I forget which organization, and he was going to jump in, but then I just saw a video of him endorsing Medina, and just a couple of days ago, I thought he was endorsing Bethel, so I don't know what's going on with Shale, but that ought to be interesting, but I don't know who's going to jump in for governor, and I bet we're going to have a lot of people jump in, so stay tuned. It's going to be interesting. What can I tell you? May you live in interesting times, which really isn't, that's just not, that's a curse. That's a Chinese curse, just so you know it. If you hear that music, it's that time again. I appreciate all of you joining me. Join me for this Friday on the Friday Night Rant. I'll see you next Monday. I'm hoping to have someone here as a guest to do an interview. And until next time, folks, carry on, Coos County. Carry on.